Everybody for coming. I'd like to call our Wednesday, July 10th meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mary, will you take call?
Job? Here. Getzinger?
Here.
So I can hear Patrick?
Yep. Set and amend the agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public comments?
It's not on? Oh, there it goes.
That was me, sorry.
They're all on.
It was turned off on the night of the planning commission. I don't know if I turned it back on.
Okay. I don't know what number that is. Is there a number?
No, it actually says lecture.
Oh.
Nope, on here.
Oh, okay. Nope. Gotcha. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
There we go. Hello, Steve Nickel, 22675 Armada Center Road. I see that tonight's agenda, you have Blake's versus Armada Township. After reading the packet, which was quite lengthy, I have to say I find it a little disturbing that the current business there on Armada Center Road has a restaurant, a tasting room, a processing center, along with many other commercial aspects, that they don't feel that they need to pay their school property tax. It is my understanding that if they become exempt from this, that the state will still have to pick up the operating mills. So essentially, taxpayers will still have to foot the bill, from my understanding, and I could be completely wrong about that. It is also my understanding that not only Tom, the assessor, said that they needed to pay, that they went to Macomb County Tribunal, and they cited that they also had to pay as well too, or that they should pay what is referenced there. So two jurisdictions stated that they should. Now it looks like that you guys might be deciding on whether or not to take it to civil court. And if I remember correctly, these are the same people who wouldn't pay for a traffic study 2 years ago because they feel that they didn't make any problems with the road, that it was strictly Armada Township that created the problem, which essentially the taxpayers picked up the $9,000 bill that the board voted on, that we've now foot the bill, and I don't think you guys have done anything with it. So we're gonna continue to just keep paying bills and suffering the burden, and potentially the children are gonna be affected at the schools by not getting the tax revenue, which you guys can decide how you want to on there. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gail Hicks. I live at 76200 True Road. I know you all know who I am, but maybe they don't. As many of you already know, our current treasurer, Sarah, has decided not to seek re-election or election to that position. She was nominated 2 years, or appointed 2 years ago. I'll get it out in a minute. And that is why I have announced my candidacy. I am not at this podium to campaign tonight. It may not be illegal, but I don't think it's appropriate. So I'm simply inviting everyone to look me up on social media. I have a campaign Facebook page that you can look for. I'm also on all of the major social media platforms. You can Instagram, X, Truth Social, Rumble, all of them. I think that my experience, education, qualifications are listed on those places. And also, I would like to mention that the Chamber, as we were just discussing, the Chamber of Commerce is hosting a Meet the Candidates event a week from tomorrow at 7 p.m. at the Township Park. And I will be there, and I imagine most of the candidates will be there, if not all. And I look forward to meeting you in person, answering any questions or concerns you might have, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Hello, Van Orion Snyder Jr., 2220223 32 Mile Road. Sorry, a lot of numbers in there. I'm writing with my expressed deep concerns about Chris Crotchy's candidacy along with Steve Nichols for Township Supervisor and Trustee. My apprehensions are rooted in personal experience with interactions when both of their prominent supporter, who has significantly impacted the safety and well-being of my family in this community, which the board knows everything about. Moreover, the individual engaged in illegal burning of toxic materials such as shingles, siding, and other construction materials. Crotchy, who was the fire chief at the time with the previous homeowner, which he may or may not been engaged in, who was called he was the fire chief at the time, he only decided to give warnings against this action against the previous owner. When I sought support from the board, I received concerns with what's going on, and you guys know what's going on in my life. And I received responses back from all members except from Monica Jobs. For support.
Job like in the Bible.
Okay, Monica
you.
Job,
Without the,
sorry about that, which voted to take no action against the blatant violations of the township ordinance is deep concerning and suggests a troubling leniency towards behaviors and endangering our community. I believe the actions and decisions of Chris Crotchy, along with a few of his supporters, do not reflect the values and standards that our community should uphold. Allowing such behavior to go unchecked and potentially elevating individuals who condone it into a position of power is not only not the direction which Armada should be heading. I urge the Township Hall, and my fellow residents to consider these points seriously, to reflect on the kind of leadership and the community we wish to cultivate in the future of Armada. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
are there any other public comments?
I would like to speak. First of all, I don't know all of the details of your situation. We get a report that's like a few sentences. Secondly, I want to know, do we have a time clock in here that works yet?
Actually, I do have one in my office.
Okay, because I'm seeing that we are paying the deputy supervisor to continue to do, she is doing enforcement. I saw it on the bills. However, this board clearly stated she was not to be handling any type of code enforcement, nothing, no letters, nothing. She is to be transferring complaints into the BSNA. That was it. And that any work that she was going to be doing had to be done up here at the Township Hall. Has that been happening? Has she been up here doing the work? Because we were paying bills and
She has come
she's
in.
getting
She has
paid
come in, but
for the number
know
of
what she
hours
does.
that we're paying for.
I don't keep track.
I need
It's a
time clock.
pattern. Yeah, you do, like, we know that, and you don't turn them in. So what I want to know is, like, when is that time clock going to be utilized so that every staff person can be clocking in and clocking out, including the deputies?
No problem.
Okay.
Good evening, I'm Marcia Hollins. I reside at 20120 Armada Ridge Road. I just like to campaign openly, and I think it's okay for me to do this, for Chris Crotchy to be our new supervisor-elect. When you vote, I'm encouraging everyone to vote for Chris Crotchy for our new supervisor of Armada Township. So I'm voting for that. Secondly, I would like to mention the amount of money that the treasurer has approved for a lawsuit that was filed against Mr. J. Berger. I did a FOIA, and I totaled the amount that the lawyers are charging the township, This is not the final amount that is to be paid. We're up to $15,525 that the Armada Township residents, I'm not sure if it includes the village or not.
Yes,
I don't-
it does.
It does. It includes the village. And I do understand that it was a deplorable sight that was taken on camera. I would like to see that. But to pay $15,525 in legal fees for something, for an issue with a resident that I believe at the ground level, there could have been communication. I'm hearing that it came from, somebody else came and said that the township code enforcer had to do something. Even if that is true, for the case to escalate where we, as residents of Armada and the village of Armada, have to foot a $15,525 legal fee, and we're not done. The case was not dropped and settled. The case was taken up, I haven't found it on the Macomb site, but they say that it's going to be prosecuted. I just want you all to know that we can't continue to pay this kind of money. I got my tax bill, and I love Armada, and I'm not against paying taxes. I will pay my taxes. You know, that's what I'm to do as a citizen of this great country. But $15,525 for a lawsuit that I feel could have been avoided had we just talked to Mr. Berger, had our code enforcer worked with, if there was an enforcement officer who came down, we're going to talk to Mr. Berger. We'll see what's wrong. We'll work together. We'll communicate. We'll try to come to a win-win situation for both parties versus $15,525. I'm just saying, you guys, it's time for new leadership. We thank Mr. Patrick for his service. If I'm going to say anything negative about him, I have to have facts. I have the facts in front of me about this lawsuit, and it's $15,000 that we have to pay, and I think he costs our township and the village unnecessary amounts of money, and it's time for you to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia.
Chris Crotchy-Wolcott. I'm not here to do anything other than address Mr. Schneider's comments. I am not making light of any of the situations he's going through, the stress. I can appreciate it. I knew no knowledge of it. The sign that was put on there had no knowledge of me. I did not pay for it. I wasn't part of it. I met this gentleman for the first time. Some of the statements about burn permits, I would like you to provide documentation of when those reports were done. I don't even believe I was in office at that time. I think I had nothing to do with it. I'm not making light of his situation. I understand he's very frustrated and passionate, and I appreciate that. I just want to clarify some of those facts. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments?
I have a public comment.
Go ahead.
I have a public comment.
Who is it?
It's Robin Spalding. Can we get her address?
Go ahead.
I'm not,
Hey, Robin, what's your address?
Okay, my name is Robin Spalding, and quite frankly, what's your address? Yeah. I think this is my public comment, is it not? I think legally you can't ask me that, but I'll tell you what it is because you put it on Facebook. My address is 100 Lakeview Drive, Oxford, Michigan, 48370. And I'm not sure why that makes you happy. What I would like to point out is on my timesheet that I filled out for getting paid, I was in the office per the request of the board. The board requested that every time and date, everything, I was sitting in that office. What the board asked for, and that's what I did. I was in the office. I was not the delay in getting a time clock. If I were purchasing a time clock, I probably could have had it within a couple of days. Time clock's not there, so I'm still filling out sheets. As far as only being allowed to put in code enforcement complaints, I work at the discretion of the supervisor, period. I don't work based on what I work at the discretion of the supervisor. I work for the supervisor, the same as the deputy clerk works for the clerk, and the deputy treasurer works for the treasurer at the discretion of both of them. I've explained this before. Neither of them have job descriptions outside of statutory duties, and it can't apply to me either. So that's who I work for. And if I'm helping him write a letter, I'm going to help him write a letter, and I'm going to get paid for it. As far as Jay Berger goes, his case is now closed for the township. In my opinion, your best expense is your attorney. I would always ask the attorney for advice anytime anybody is unsure of something. There's not one person sitting on this board that has legal background. When in doubt, ask the question. It's well worth the money. Jay Berger's thing is closed. All of his documents can be FOIA. They're electronic. If you want them, ask me for them. What he's in for is animal cruelty, had nothing to do with Racer Farm, had nothing to do with dam. That was smoke and mirrors is what that was, because I'll tell you what, when you do a crime where you have dead animals, you have animals living on manure, you have animals eating their food off of manure, you have frozen water, you have animals that have been dead so long they're sunk into the ground, you have piglets that are tiny babies that have no shelter and they're dead. That's what you get accused of. Just because you may have cleaned it up 5 months later, you still broke the law 5 months before. That's how it works. I can't murder somebody today and then say, oh shoot, I looked at the law. Now I promised 3 months later I'm not going to do that anymore. I still get charged with murder. I may not do it again, but I'm still charged with murder. And as far as Christopher Crotchy and letting this neighbor go over at this home where we have open ordinance violations, and there's a sign, which actually we've all found very funny. If it was meant to get a reaction, it did. We've all been cracking up. He moved a container that has to get off the property that you all are paying for this gentleman to be in court with
It's Robin.
attorney. No one likes those attorney bills, but you're paying for this one. And now he's moved one of these containers 8 feet from the road, which is a safety issue. He's also got a sign violation because of that. We're not going to pursue that. You guys do what you want with it. I mean, we have had our fun with it, and you guys do what you want with it. I do want to know when a prior ordinance problem, Chris Crotchy also sat with Mr. Coubard at his fire after hours while it burned 24 hours, and then was upset that the gentleman next door didn't get a hold of him directly. And what he said to the supervisor, how could I go to the chief? The chief was sitting at the fire. So,
This is going to, no, she is going on and on. Anybody else would have been cut off 4 minutes ago.
if you want to change the rules and you don't want to enforce ordinance,
Exactly.
and you want to set up a new ordinance situation where you're going to pick and choose which ones are great and which ones aren't,
Yep.
then, all right, thank you for listening, you guys. Appreciate it.
All right.
And I did contact MTA, and when it comes to the deputy supervisor, they can only do what the board allows them to do. It's different than a deputy clerk or a deputy treasurer that are mandated. She can only do what the board gives her the authority to do. That's it.
All set? Public comments? Please.
Marcia Ventimiglia, 74-100 Madison Street in Armada Village. I have never been to a meeting before, but I just have some questions, and if they could be answered. I would like to know how many hours a week, Mr. Patrick, you are here, and how many hours a week Robin
Spalding.
Spalding is here in this building? That's my first question. My second question is, because I've heard, is Robin Spalding your secretary?
Yes, ma'am. She was the deputy treasurer.
I'm not
prior.
talking the secretary here.
No.
I'm talking the secretary at your business.
She was the deputy treasurer prior,
Okay.
under a former treasurer.
Is she the secretary at your business?
Yes,
or-
yeah, yeah.
Okay. And that was my questions.
Thank you.
Get some answers.
There are no answers.
Are there any public comments? Hearing none, we'll go to the consent agenda.
I did have a few questions, just
Okay.
simple ones, just updates really. So there were some attorney bills related to that annexation tax issue. Do you have any update on that? Cause
No, I asked Bob for him. What I did was I took the correspondence we received from Chet's attorney and sent it to Bob for his opinion. So he's working
so
on it.
they're investigating on whether or not we can charge them the fire millage or tax them, okay. But no response yet. And then as far as, there was no update on the planning commission report. I know Sarah's not here, but I assume you have some info. Boo Boo's Boneyard, do we know that was, there's no update since then, and they're still operating, is that the case?
Well, they filed to go to court, and they have asked if they could reapproach the planning commission and see if they could do anything with the ordinances, but they have to go to planning. It's not something we can
So-
decide.
And they had, they had lost their appeal, is that correct?
No.
It
there's-
still hasn't
not
been
done yet.
resolved? I
They
must
haven't
have
been to court
misunderstood
yet.
the one. Okay, and then the last one was, said there was a meeting at the end of June for Blake's traffic study, which I know was brought up today. Do you have any, did you attend that meeting?
Yes, I did, and the grant writer for Blake's and the county executive office was supposed to provide a three-pronged approach to traffic flow, the light, and getting traffic off a Romeo plank, and potentially what they call a box culvert under the road for pedestrian traffic, and I had got that back. But we met with county executive's office, road commission, Blake's, and ourselves. They were putting that together.
Okay, thank you.
So I did contact the MTA, now, since we paid $8,000 for us to belong to them again. So I contacted the MTA regarding the taxes for annexed property, and they are required to pay both municipality taxes, both fires, and both ALS departments. So Chet should have thought of that before he
Well,
requested an
like I said,
annexation.
you don't annex out of the township. You can annex for utilities into another village, but that'd be like saying the village of Armada is exempt from taxes. We're in the right, we're not losing any taxes. They're still in the township. We're general law village, general law township. That's just how it is. Thank you.
Thanks for that info.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've forgotten. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Fire Department FOIA Coordinator?
Yep. Before Chief left on vacation, I designated him as the fire department FOIA coordinator, because if I get fire department requests for records, patient records, I don't have access to them anyway, so I have to give them to him. So when I give them to him, he will fulfill them.
Yeah, he said he's
Yeah.
fine with that.
Yep, yep,
Okay, because, thank you for answering that, because I was going to
Yeah.
ask, why is
Yeah.
that
yep. There's
Why was that
patient information that
necessary?
can't get access to, and
HIPAA?
Yeah. And then I also have an email from Andrew, from Blake Farms, and he wanted me to read this. Please submit this correspondence and information for tonight's meeting to the board and the public to better clarify the text and why behind our decision. As always, come election time, there's a lot of information and half the truths being spread about. I hope the below can clarify our position. Blake Farm on Armada Center Road and Blake's Big Apple on North Avenue have long been engaged in agricultural activities in Armada Township. The Michigan Right to Farm Act protects and governs all agricultural activities. The Michigan Department of Agricultural and Rural Development, MDARD, has published generally accepted agricultural and management practice, which are GAMPs, for farm operations. These GAMPs include the GAMPs for farm markets, which provides Michigan is a right to farm state, and the Right to Farm Act defines farm operation as meaning the operation and management of a farm or a condition or activity that occurs at any time as necessary on a farm in connection with commercial production, harvesting, and storage of farm products. This definition includes, but is not limited to, marketing produce at roadside stands or farm markets. Farm markets offer farm-related experiences and farm products through a variety of agritourism activities. The experience in turn promotes sale of more farm products and provides an added income stream to support the farm business, the farm family, and surrounding communities, and keeps farmland in production. The GAMPs for farm markets specifically refers to retail operations and construction of parking lots like Blake's has at Armada Center Road and North Avenue properties. The GAMPs for farm markets also defines what a farm market is, and it may cover both fresh produce and processed products. Blake's worked with MDARD a number of years ago to ensure that it was compliant with the GAMPs and that its entire operation fell under the Michigan Right to Farm Act. MDARD acknowledged that Blake's was compliant with the GAMPs and sent the township letters that both properties were GAMP compliant. Blake's believes that the activities in which it engages at these properties are part of its farm operation as defined by the state of Michigan. So when the township reduced Blake's qualified agricultural exemption on the basis that it was engaged in commercial activities, such as farm market store and its parking lot, it believed that it had to challenge this, not just for Blake's, but for all farmers in Michigan. We have two different systems operating at the same time, the Right to Farm Act and the GAMPs, published by MDARD, which say that these activities are part of agricultural activities, and the statute on which the township relies that says that commercial activities are not agricultural activities. These are conflicting, and Blake's believes that the language about commercial activities not being agricultural activities is further defined by the Right to Farm Act and GAMPs, which makes commercial activities on a farm operation part of agricultural activities. Unfortunately, the only way that this issue can be cleared up for all farmers in all municipalities is to get a ruling from the Court of Appeals as to whether the farm market activities are entitled to be included in the qualified agricultural exemption. Blake's is not doing this to avoid paying taxes. It has paid its taxes each and every year without fail. But there is a larger issue at stake here, which is the vitality and application of the Right to Farm Act and the state GAMPs. Blake's supports all farm operations in the state and is willing to seek this clarity so that the issue can be resolved for everyone. We always want what's best for Armada, and we do not want to inconvenience our township. As a gesture of good faith and in the spirit of working together, Blake's would be willing to cover reasonable legal fees incurred by Armada Township. We look forward to working with our community and moving forward. Best regards, the Blakes.
Then we have one from our assessor. Kylie let Tom know that this was coming up at the meeting tonight. So in case you get a chance to see it, here's some simple information about the appeal. The township's position is straightforward. There is a Right to Farm Act. Its purpose is to protect farmers from nuisance lawsuits over agricultural operations. The Right to Farm Act does not grant any tax exemptions, nor does it talk about any tax exemptions. There is an exemption statute which dictates the property values are exempt from school operating tax. The exemption statute does not refer to the Right to Farm Act in any way. It has its own definitions of what property values can be exempt from paying school operating tax. The Exemption Act specifically excludes structures and land on farm property that are used for commercial and industrial purposes. The assessor is instructed by the law to value those items and not apply the exemption to the value. The Blake's position is basically that the Right to Farm Act, which says nothing about exemptions, overrides the clear language of the exemption statute that governs the school operating tax exemption. This case is an appeal from the Michigan Tax Tribunal decision, which upheld the township's method of determining school operating tax on the two parcels. Blake's, like anyone, had the right to appeal my determination to the tax tribunal. When ruled against by the tax tribunal, they have the right to appeal the tax tribunal decision to the Court of Appeals. they have the right to pursue what that argument as far as they want to take it. Unfinished business, Siebert and Dolowski.
I'll make a motion to pay the bill in the amount of $3,100 as presented for invoice number 13040.
I'll support that.
Joe?
Well, we
Any-
have some discussion. I apologize. I was
Okay, that's
not
good.
here at the last meeting,
Yep.
so I'd like to, I know this scenario, but I'd like to understand the discussion that was had last meeting.
The discussion was about what it was about. Chris Martin
Yeah,
had
okay.
done all that, created a document while she was working for the township, deleted it, would not share it with Mary before she deleted it. So you are right when you say there's a double standard. There definitely is a double standard. We take some people to court for deleting stuff and other people we don't. Because most people are not sue happy and don't want to just sue ourselves, basically. So there is a double standard. So that's what that discussion was about. I voted not to pay it last month, but considering what is on the agenda for the next thing, this will be why, so.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, basically you ended up FOIAing and the concern was paying the bill for attorney fees related to the FOIA of the document.
Right.
And certainly my opinion there is,
When you
if
rely
we had
on your
asked our
attorney to ask
attorney,
the questions,
if we had
so that's
asked our
why it went.
attorney to do something, provide a response,
Yep. And she did.
then they should be paid for it.
Yep.
I know that we've had plenty of discussions where this kind of lines with your comments about Robin Spalding. We've talked at board level multiple times about communicating, and we've given direction on things. Unfortunately, we have this, or fortunately, we have this leeway to, if we need to call the attorney, we want to be able to do that. And if the rest of the board doesn't agree with that, that puts us in this position where we are potentially wasting money. Now, we have to try not to do that. We have to communicate, make sure the public knows that so they can trust us that we're spending money properly. However, in this case, if one person who is authorized to talk to the attorney did talk to the attorney, there's a cost to do that, and we need to pay that bill, I guess is what it comes down to.
I have a question. Why do you need that information she has? Is she authorized to train
That-
other people?
Excuse me, we're debating.
Joe?
Yes.
Swakias, Getzner?
Yes.
Bitter?
Yes. Armada Attorney at all township board meetings.
So, because we are spending so much money on issues that it would be nice if the people out that are taking their time out of their days to attend meetings knew what actually was happening. I've sat out there many years, and you don't know what's going on. It's important. It's their money. It's all the taxpayers' money. They need to know what we are spending money on. And are we spending money on asking the attorney the same thing? And we know we are, because we've seen it in the attorney bills. It's like, wait a minute, supervisor called on this, clerk called on this, then, you've called on things that it's already been addressed. If we had the township attorney here at the meetings, we could ask questions, the audience could hear what that opinion is. What are they doing? Why did that ZBA meeting get canceled last night? Was there something that we could have, maybe the township attorney could have been knowledgeable about at board level? I figured out the bills, the attorney bills, just for last month, and it was like $800 in stuff that, if the township attorney was here, they could have just addressed it, and we could have moved on and moved forward. I think that we're wasting a lot of time and a lot of money by not having the township attorney at the meetings. And for me to say that is huge, because I do not want the township attorneys here ever, but when I'm seeing, now that I am on the board and seeing the waste, I think it's time that the township attorney is here at every meeting.
I'll make that motion to have the attorney present at all board meetings.
I will support that.
I know we've had these discussions before. I think the most important takeaway from this to me is the communication part. We've discussed multiple times, and if you contact anybody, the attorney specifically, you should be relaying that information to the board so that we're not duplicating calls. We're not in the dark. One person knows and the rest don't. I don't know how to fix that. You know, if I talk to the attorney, at least I try to send a follow-up email to the board to say, hey, I called the attorney to ask this question and this was the response. To me, that's the solution, and that information could be included in our packet. We've talked about that before. That would be the right way to do it. If I personally feel that if we had the attorney at every meeting, not just meetings that we expect an issue.
Exactly.
Well, I think that they would just be reiterating information that we've had to ask in advance. Some of
No,
your
but
examples, I don't think that they would necessarily be able to just provide a response on the spot. So I don't necessarily see that as
I think that they would have, like that meeting where you guys got sued for the Open Meetings Act violation. I think that the township attorney being there would have been very beneficial, and it would have saved the taxpayers, all of us, a lot of money.
There've certainly been scenarios where hindsight, that would have been a value. But I think looking at,
The township attorney did have an opinion on that, by the way.
but
We didn't get it.
I think Trustee Job is saying that at the time, that may have prevented some misunderstandings in the scenario that we were in if somebody had been there to say, stop the meeting here, or that kind of thing, so. Is that what you're
Yes.
referring to?
Yep. Absolutely.
Joe?
Yes.
Swack, yes. Getzinger?
No.
Patrick?
No.
I said yes. It's a tie, so it didn't go anywhere.
Failed.
Again, they don't want the attorney at the board meetings. It never passes.
Armada Township Fire Department Community Safety Fee Schedule.
Did we skip an agenda item? Did we skip the FOA, the fire department's FOIA?
That
No,
was- yeah,
no, we
that was
didn't.
under correspondence.
No, we already did that.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution as presented and to publish the fee schedule accordingly for the community safety fee schedule.
Support.
Is this for commercial and home? Is this for everything? For
It's
commercial
yeah,
only?
Yeah, you don't,
Was this,
I gave them everything.
Corrected the of instead of
I didn't give them that one, no.
Okay,
No.
there is one
There's just one
error
word.
in what you have in front of you in the,
But everything else is still the
additions
same.
and renovations, on the right-hand side, there's an or that
Gotcha.
should be an of.
Okay.
forgive me, but was this brought to the board previously, this fee schedule?
We did this
And what-
last
Yeah,
year.
we
What-
changed
Oh, we
it.
have to do
We
this?
gotta change it.
Oh,
We
it was
changed it.
updated.
Yeah,
Okay, I misunderstood that. Thank you.
yeah. Getzinger?
Yes.
Swaki, yes. Joe?
Yes.
Patrick?
yes. Lake Farms Inc. versus Armada Township tax appeal.
I will make a motion that we have the township attorney represent Armada Township at the tax tribunal.
I'll second that. So Tom summed it up really well, in my
Mhm.
opinion. I mean, Blake's has the right to appeal. Tom made or the assessor made a determination. They have the right to appeal. It went to the Michigan Tax Tribunal. They upheld our assessor's decision, and now they have the right to take it to the next step. The one question I had was, and so clearly our attorney said they need us to direct them to represent the township, which is
Yes.
what we're discussing. Related to the one correspondence that the clerk read, in a typical case, if the township is representing, has to pay an attorney and goes to court, if the township wins, if you will, do we typically get attorney fees reimbursed by the, no, we do not, okay. Just in reference to Blake's comment about paying for the attorney fees, I was curious.
Joe?
Yes.
Getzinger?
Yes.
Swaki, yes. Patrick?
Yes. Zoning ordinance, agribusiness, text amendment.
This is just approval for them to update that, for a fee of less than $1,000, right? I'll
I
make that,
just had one question on that, on page 7, where it said at least 51% had to be grown on the place. I thought that they were talking about reducing that to 50,
I thought
to
it was
comply
50
with the
myself.
to comply with the state.
it was 50,
I thought it was 50.
wasn't it 50 before, Chris?
I believe it is 50. What you're seeing there is what she put together as a first draft for the planning commission to
Okay.
review. It's not approved. They need to discuss it. And that's one of the things.
What she's really
Okay.
saying though is because the language has to be changed outside her scope of work, she's asking for a budget to do that because
Extra
she has
fee.
to revisit it
I
and
saw
change
that,
it again.
$1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's her budget, yes.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, it appears the 51% was in there and she added the words to the number. But so,
There's a whole lot
okay.
of stuff.
Yeah.
She's just cleaning up the
Yeah.
language.
Okay.
But there are specific things that she's,
you may address as part of that.
she's suggesting as part of the update. But they have not completed it. That's what this bill is for.
Okay.
Is to complete that work, to do this outside of the ordinance book update. Because they wanna do it before that is done.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve the fee not to exceed 1,000 for the updates as presented from Wade Trim.
Support.
So yes, Getzinger,
Yes.
Job,
Yes.
Eric.
Yes. Master Plan Resolution 2024-06.
Actually, we're gonna change that to 07. The planning commission, Chris and I just went through that, and we assigned 06 to the planning commission. So it'll be 2024-07. And I'll make that motion to approve the resolution as presented.
I'll support.
So yes, Getzinger,
Yes.
Job,
Yes.
Eric.
Yes. They did a good job on the master plan too, by the way. They really worked on it thoroughly.
We should have new maps and bound copies, within a couple of weeks of sending these resolutions over to be included.
Okay, staff assistant, increase in budget. We do have a situation to where there's potentially a need for some more hours in the, office. My request was to increase her budget by $2,750.
Why? What is the need? Because that's my concern.
We're,
Would it be needed if the elected officials were here? You and Mayor and Sarah were here every day, at least? I mean, if you can't be here every day, be here one day a week and rotate. Rotate. Would we need that extra
well, I think the,
staff?
And the budget that we did adopt is 20,904.
Exactly.
but based
And we're only
on,
in the first quarter.
what's that?
We're only up to July.
Yeah, we're not changing it for a whole year.
What's the
Or maybe I
need?
I mean, there's,
what do you
she
mean?
only used 29% of her budget.
Mm-hmm.
It would be my opinion to wait and see where we're at when we get closer. Typically, a
I
budget.
just wanted to make an adjustment so that if we did have to, we wouldn't have to adjust the budget at the end.
So what was
We're
the,
in a situation to where we have somebody that's limited as to their work abilities. And so there's more time that's gonna be needed for taxes collecting and more time that's gonna be needed in planning and zoning. So fortunately, we have somebody that can do that job. However, this isn't a, I just don't feel like coming to work thing. We're gonna be somewhat more challenged for having people on the floor out of our control. It's not even a control thing.
gotcha, so you're saying there's something unexpected that the,
I can't, I'm not
gotcha.
gonna
Yep.
elaborate on the
oh, I
woman's
know,
health.
but that's what you're
Okay?
saying, is
Yeah,
that
right.
somebody, so,
She's not
so
gonna be
you,
able to put in the hours she normally does, and
Gotcha.
Chris is gonna have to cover more in the treasurer's office as the deputy. And this just gives us the room,
Kathy.
if Kathy needs to swing shifts or work through lunch or whatnot, not to have to worry about breaking the budget. And I'd rather do it now than all of a sudden wait till all of a sudden we're gonna run out of money or go $100 over. All it is adding an extra 4 hours a week for the rest of the budget year if needed. And that doesn't mean they'll use it, I'm just adjusting the budget, I'm not changing her wages.
Well, in November, we went through this, and it was supposed to be 24 hours a week, and she was supposed to take an hour for lunch.
And all I'm saying is now that, we're without a treasurer on a regular basis.
You're thinking it'd be
Well-
more than 24
Well,
hours? a
it'll
week?
allow her to work through lunch is all, when needed.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate
I
you
got
bringing
crucified for
the,
that when I wanted to increase Dawn's budget, so.
yeah, I was gonna say, I appreciate you bringing the situation to our attention. I would say, let's see how long this situation lasts, and if we get through it, and if you find we've
Right.
exceeded, then we can make an adjustment then, not necessarily in February, but, when we see that we're getting closer on the budget. That'd be my opinion.
All right.
In your note here, it says that the chair shall open discussion on the matter to the public. So can you open the matter for the discussion of this topic to the public? It says it right here on this page of the agenda, because I would like to speak on this.
Yeah, that's not really Robert's
That-
rules, but
That is in the policies and procedures, and it has not been taken out.
Right, and it's not been taken out, so on each.
You'd have to
item you
remove
guys
that from
discuss,
policies and procedures.
Once you make a motion to discussion, and after the discussion, you're to open it. And so I'm asking now that you guys don't do it, but I'd like to discuss this issue.
It's up to the chair, yeah.
I need permission from the chair.
yes, you do.
Oh, do you have it? Oh.
You're gonna take it.
Okay. Again, back to the point on the floor. You were asked by, your first name, please? Marcia, my name, my doppelganger. Yes, you were asked, how many hours do you spend in this office? How many hours does the deputy supervisor spend? And if you all were here, why aren't you cross-trained to help do some of these things, scanning? Why is it that you're not here? I know it, I'm here a lot. I see you sometimes, most of the time I do not. I do not see Robin Spalding here. I do not see Monica Job here. Job,
Job, in the
sorry,
Bible.
Job. Yeah, right, you're not. I see Mary here. I see her deputy here.
If I may, we are on the topic of a $2,750 budget.
Right, for the secretary, for the
No.
clerical assistant.
Yes.
And this is in reference that if you all were here, you might be able to do some of the clerical work that needs to be done. And I'm just saying, I don't think you should increase the hours. I think that everybody should be cross-trained to do multiple jobs in the association.
Thank you. Administrative policies and procedures.
Do you want?
You can go ahead, Jim. Jim made all the
Well, we
changes that
have,
we discussed.
yeah,
Yeah.
Except for the one that you wanted to add, which is.
So I had volunteered to update this just based on the meeting minutes and what was presented at the last board. So I don't know if you've had a chance to review that and see if you agree with the changes or not.
I just truly do not understand why the senior center cash receipting, this is so convoluted. It's like, oh my gosh, sign in, pay, put money in an envelope, put it in a safe. It's insanity to me. Why did this happen? Because we never get a clear answer.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Of course, I had entered based on what was presented.
Right,
That wasn't my
right.
opinion.
I know, it was just,
we have cash coming in. It needs to be receipted.
And Don always receipted it.
yeah,
well-
to have them signed in and to put their name, Monica's gonna go on the senior outing, $2 in the envelope, put it in the thing. It's kind of like insane. There's gotta be an easier step. I mean, have the treasurer go up there, just, hey, here's the money, this many are going, let's go. Go deposit it into the bank.
It's really what it is.
Cash receipted out. No, they sign in, they have to put their $2 or $3 or $5 in an envelope with their name on it, and then they put it inside a safe. It's just like
It's a mailbox.
insane. It's just insane.
She'd like to address, since you guys brought this up as an agenda item, can she please come to the mic?
Certainly.
We can't hear you.
Y'all know that.
I don't have to state my name, do I?
Yep,
Sharon.
it's
My
part
name
of
is
the drill.
Sharon. Where I live?
please.
No, that's okay.
What?
Just your name.
I thought we just made some, I thought.
You know what, just, we're not going.
Okay, I've been
I
going
don't
to
write
the
it down
senior
either.
center for a long time, a long time. I teach art classes up there. When I go someplace and I see something, because we charge $5 a class for seniors to do art, let me tell you, it's a challenge. But what I do is if I'm out shopping, because I love to shop, if I see something like clearance or whatever that they can do, I'll buy it. I had to wait almost a month, 3 weeks to a month, to get back my $46.01. Because now we have to put in an envelope from the bank, which is wasting paper, $3 for bingo. We have to sign in it's like we're kindergartens, you know? If we do, that's for bingo. If we do a craft, you have to write your name and put Cher Rajevitz, $5 for craft. Why? Donna's been taking care of this for a long time. How long has she been there?
It's been 3-4 years, yeah.
I think it's like 6.
Okay, for 3 or 4 years she's been there, so for 3 or 4 years it's been working really smoothly. Now how come all of a sudden it's not? People are I used to go up there for exercise on Monday. I know it doesn't look like it. Monday. Tuesdays I'd go for bingos. Wednesday I'd go for exercise, and then I'd go for the senior centers, and I'd teach art class. I only teach art class now because I'm so sick of going up there. I'm done. I mean, done. I'd rather go to Romeo because Romeo, they're much more pleasant. Not that Donna's very pleasant, but the stress that you guys put on everybody to go there, it's unreal. And really, what happened, you know? Why?
Yeah, what happened?
I want to know.
Great question.
And I want to know, this is out of the source, but we moved here from Livonia 8 years ago, right? We moved to a community that we thought was really cool. What happened to you guys? How come it's so bad now? I mean, everybody, the township doesn't like the village. The village doesn't like the township. What happened? How come everybody's always in fighting now? That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know. Thank you for your comments.
Yeah, not being privy to what potentially happened or why there was a sudden change, I do agree that it seems very complicated, and I definitely think there needs to be accountability. So, but if we have somebody there in charge, Donna, obviously part of her job would be to make sure that the money's accounted for and do what, to some extent, certainly if there's a large purchase, a large event where it's significant money, that would definitely warrant being, following
Well, it was also
extra careful, that kind of a thing.
That was also the concept with the credit cards, so that people weren't pulling money out of their pocket
Sure.
and paying cash for the money, so they can just make those orders.
I don't have a credit card.
Yeah, there are certainly times where that's
I
not
have my own
practical,
credit
but,
card,
yeah.
Which I bought things off my credit card.
Right.
For the senior center.
But I'm saying Donna has one to make those purchases, so you don't have to.
She's not shopping with me all the time.
Mhm.
You know, I'm trying to cut back and save money for y'all, for the senior center.
I appreciate that.
How can I do it? Honestly, how can I do it?
I'm sorry, something to say about this topic. All the employees of the Armada Township Board are bonded. That means that she is bonded. That means for 6 years, Donna has managed financially well. There has been not a problem. And for us to have to go through this onerous back and forth, why was it instituted? I think it's a personal something. Donna is honest. She is accountable for every penny. She goes beyond to make sure that it's accounted. Now you all don't know. It's like you don't even want to go on to play bingo. You got to write a receipt. It's just onerous. It wasn't even voted on by the board. Was this process voted on by the board?
No,
No,
in
she's
fact,
bonded like all of you.
It was a cash receipting process requested by the treasurer.
By the treasurer, exactly. And we talked to the lawyers, and they said that everybody is bonded. Each of you are bonded. So that means if you do confiscate or embezzle money,
Embezzle.
we're insured. It's unnecessary that the director of the senior center and the seniors of Armada and the village have to go through this.
Plus it's locked. Why is it locked?
No,
It's just a joke. It's just a joke now. If I could pick up my house, I would.
Is there a procedural restriction why we couldn't, as a community, kind of avoid the bureaucratic nonsense and do a fundraiser for like $1,000 or $2,000 in petty cash? Donate it to them, have Donna hold the money, and then they could use that cash.
There's no fun, you can't have fundraisers.
Well, I'm willing to put together a fundraiser to initiate that, to help you guys with that.
Donate.
Is there any issue with us donating to them to have Donna hold $1,000 or $2,000 in petty cash to help buffer, help buffer the system that, is there any procedural conflict or obstacle to?
start dealing with cash.
That would
you
be
know,
something
it's
that
not
would have been nice
auditor.
if the township attorney was here to address
It
that.
would be, yeah.
It wouldn't be our cash, it would be their
The
cash.
senior
Yeah.
center's
that we're giving
cash.
to them,
Yep.
that we would give to them.
Yeah, I would
I'm
bring-
willing to, I'm
That
gonna
would
pursue
probably be an
putting that
auditor.
together, I'd like a response from you guys if there's a reason why we can't do that.
Yeah, I would say potentially if it's not really donated to the township, they can do whatever they want with it if they were to give it. Well, I just mean if Donna were to have cash
If
that she
they-
wanted to
okay.
donate, you know, or somebody were to give her money to spend how she wishes, I would, this is just my assumption, that's probably, you
Well,
may
I'd
be
like to
better off
donate
to
it to
not.
Donna,
Yeah, you,
then.
you know, I'm not an attorney.
Is there a way that why can't the senior center be organize a 501c3 the way that the fire department did? And then that way, they can do fundraisers and all of that stuff as well.
That's certainly good. I think getting back to the point we're talking about, we don't,
Yeah,
that
yeah, I know.
fundraiser is
Yes,
completely
yes, yes.
independent of this, and I know this is a
But-
proposed change in policy, and again, the board last meeting had seemed to approve this, and so that's why I had entered it in here. If the board is now saying they don't want to require this policy, my suggestion
Now
would
that
be
you
that we take that out of there.
Yeah, now that you see it in here like this, it's like, this is a convoluted mess.
And this would be an auditor question. If Donna, let's just say, like, we have petty
Yeah.
cash here, let's say you have $100 petty
Mhm.
cash, you need something to buy something, you get a receipt and you account for everything, you make a spreadsheet, and then if we run out of
Which
petty
is why the
cash.
money was supposed to go into a
Yeah.
budget line to pay the credit card, so that Donna wasn't spending her money out of her pocket and on her credit card, buying things to bring back to the senior center.
I think the credit card solves the
Yeah.
purchases thing. I think the big issue has to do with convenience for the seniors that are
Right,
attending
right.
events.
That's it.
And I tend to agree that this is very, when I was typing this up, I found it to be very complicated, and there may be,
Until you see it in there, you're like,
yeah.
what the heck
And
are we
there-
doing to these
there's
people?
certainly, again, responsibility.
Yeah.
If I were Donna, I would still probably have a sheet, you know, and do some stuff to keep track of it, but not necessarily
account
quite
for it.
so
Intense,
intense.
Yeah.
That's a good word for it, yeah.
because seniors are thieves.
Well, and I
You
think
know
in
what,
defense,
just to
nobody,
see, but
This
just to
This
see
is
the way that this is,
accountability. This
it
is
does,
yeah.
it does make them feel that.
I think that if there is one benefit, it would show that you have, has nothing to do with stealing. It would be, it shows that I paid, so you can't say I didn't pay. It might be a benefit to you, even though it's complicated. So, I mean, that would be one positive I would take away from it.
It was just more cash flow in to pay for the cash money out. That was the goal.
So there were a few, so just to kind of wrap up this discussion, I would say there was three changes, really. The one had to do with reference to an appendix for the employee appraisal form, which I assume
Page 10, yeah.
last meeting that everybody accepted that we've support the appraisal form as it's written.
We adopted
And then
that.
there was this
Senior center credit card.
receding section that we've been talking at length about, and then the third one had to do with just
The
the
credit
senior
card.
credit
Senior
card, just
credit
adding
card,
some
right.
language regarding the purchase limits.
Right. I have no problem with that one.
So,
What's that?
I said I didn't have a problem with the senior center credit card.
yeah, and I have no issues with 2 out of the 3.
Right.
And if there were general support for the receding, I would, it's fine, it just doesn't seem necessary, so I would prefer to remove that and,
So like,
Yes, I would
page
remove
10,
that too.
so page 10, referencing the employee appraisal form. And then page 36, referencing the senior director card. And page 44.
which is really just saying appendix 2, which is the appraisal form.
Yeah, I would,
So page 30.
I would,
So page 30.
I would make a motion to support section 4.0B9, which is page 10, to approve that, section 7.8F, page 36, and also section 14, the appendix, page 44.
Do we allow Chris to-
Well, everybody else did.
Yeah, I would say
Well,
so.
I wanted to wait until you finished your motion and support and then there would be discussion, correct?
Correct.
So you did your
So
motion.
I made the
Then-
motion.
Then I'll support it.
All right, as the deputy treasurer, it is my understanding that Donna was in favor of this as well.
Under pressure.
Of the process where she does not have to touch the cash.
No.
Because every time the cash came here, there were discrepancies. So if the seniors are putting the cash in the envelope and putting it in the box, Donna's hands are off of it. If there are discrepancies, they are not Donna's fault. And so, for example, I took over the casino and the Princess Cruise reconciliation, and both of them were off. I did not match what Donna, the number of individuals Donna was saying were going. And we sat down and we went through it and we reconciled it. There are some refunds that have to take place, which I don't know, did you cut those refunds already?
Not yet, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay.
yep.
So they're in part of the consent agenda. There were refunds that had to be issued for people that could not attend due to medical or whatever reasons. There were people who had written their name down but did not pay. And there were people who had paid, in one case, 3 times. I reconciled that with Donna, but Donna's hands never touched the money, so she didn't there was no allegation of anything wrong. It was just, when Donna's hands are in the middle of it, she doesn't want to have to touch the money. That's my understanding. Donna doesn't want to touch the money. So having a locked box up there has nothing to do with anybody being a thief. It has to do with Donna doesn't want to touch the money. We need to be able to reconcile to the number of people that Donna has calculated are going on the
And
trip.
it's not just the bingo, there are large.
So,
events.
yeah, I mean, it's bingo, it's the trips, it's the crafts, it's everything. And I understand putting $2 in an envelope is a pain in the butt. I get it. But it's so that Donna doesn't have to be responsible for touching the money that needs to come to the treasurer. That's all it is. And it's my understanding, and based on the conversation that her and I had when I reconciled the 2 trips, she's fine with this. So I don't understand why you're
Okay.
questioning what she worked out with the treasurer's
Well,
office and the supervisor.
Again, I think I think one of the pressures are, Donna is the director at the senior center, and she's gotta kinda get along with the crew there. So it's hard for her to say she's not comfortable with that, so I can
I gotcha.
understand that.
So I appreciate
She's
that
just
info.
complying.
I think it kind of goes back to a comment I made earlier, that if there's support for it, I have no issue with it. My concern was, are we forcing Donna and everybody? So if this is in, it sounds like we're expecting this procedure to be followed for all events. And I guess part of my concern was, are there times where it doesn't need to be quite this formal, like,
Well, they did
couple.
She gets
the
frustrated.
tips for the bus drivers and stuff like that.
Well,
It
that's
doesn't need to be any part of
separated
the-
out.
Right.
But like, if it's $2 bingo or whatever you're
Or
talking about.
exercise
and
or
there's
anything
10
like that,
people,
yeah.
can she use judgment and collect the $20 and bring it over? Or are we expecting that she has to follow this if she's comfortable not following it? Again, if it's a comfort level for her, then I do think that this is good to have.
I can't speak for
yeah.
Donna, but it was my understanding that she was okay with the classes.
I did talk to Donna, and she was like,
Frustrated.
very frustrated, because she feels like,
She
what
can't do her- she
was
feels like
I
she can't do her
doing
job,
wrong?
right.
What was
Yeah.
I doing? She felt like,
Yeah.
what is
So
happening here?
I'm getting conflicting information.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
She would have to
to
say
me,
that,
I would
right.
say we,
Yeah.
we should,
Just postpone, hold off
I
on
would
this
say
one.
pull this for now and
Mhm.
let's get some clear understanding.
But this is what we're doing.
I mean,
This is what we're doing. Put it in your procedures manual. If the board together talks to Donna and Donna says, no, this is not what I wanna do.
She's not gonna tell anybody that. She's just gonna wanna do
Well,
with
and
the treasurer. Yeah.
that's the point.
Yeah.
If you approach her and say, I know this is crazy,
Yeah,
That's
I
not
was
what I
over that.
said. I asked her to give me, just explain to me how this works. Because we're having to do this, and I really am going, it just seems like, and I didn't say, I just went in asking, explain to me how this works. And let me tell you what, she was so frustrated. It was unbelievable. So, yeah, and then when you see it written down like
like a
this, you
checklist.
just kind of like, oh my God.
well, this might make
There
it
has to be
appear
an
more
easier way.
complicated than it is
and
too.
that's the thing.
And it just,
Yeah.
It is, the way it's written, it does appear to be more complicated. It's not that hard.
but the way that,
I wanna go on this trip. Put your money in an envelope and put your name on a piece of paper.
And I think there's a certain merit to what Jim's saying too, the $2 exercise thing or bingo thing doesn't really rise to a trip to the thing, but how do you do one without the other?
Right, how
You
do
know.
you say, you're only gonna do it for this and that?
I think as long as we can allow some
Leeway.
discretion,
And again,
if
it's
she's not gonna
the
get
actual money
reprimanded
and
for
it's
not doing it, you know.
Like, we're not gonna reprimand her, we're just trying to
That-
figure out
I know.
a process
A better
to follow,
That's
that's all.
just what I'm getting at. If, that'd be my
This
concern.
wasn't about reprimanding anybody, this was just about organization and checks and balances.
The treasurer's department is responsible for every penny that comes into the town.
yep.
It is.
Okay.
I'm done.
So right,
I made-
there's
well, I made-
already a motion on,
Yeah, I made the motion to approve,
which I
you know,
seconded.
page 10, 36, and 44, and Jim
And I will say before we vote, that I would support, based on this discussion, I would support amending the motion to include this, or possibly I would support bringing it back if we wanna try to clean it up so it doesn't appear so daunting, but still satisfies the concerns.
amend to include.
Well, we can bring it back, cause we can still do it this way until we take another look at it.
You wanna-
So
We
well,
can
right now the
bring- we can
motion
bring
is.
that
We
back.
were just
can bring it back.
yeah, we're just
Yeah.
putting words in the book.
Yeah, we're
We
just
were
trying
still
to
doing
go
it this
through
way
everything.
now, so.
We'll just go through these three will be
Okay,
taken care of, and then we can just go.
we'll see how the
through
process
others.
goes before we formally
Yeah.
approve it, okay.
Okay. Joe?
Yes.
Swag, yes. Eric?
To table it, or?
No,
It's
the
to-
first
No,
three.
we're just-
No,
It's
no,
approved
the
the
first
three,
three.
but not.
We're
First-
just
not
not
that
doing
one.
that
We're
part.
just not gonna do the other one yet.
At this time.
Okay,
Eric?
you did?
What?
Did
Yeah.
you vote?
Yes, I did.
Okay, yes.
And Getzinger?
Yes,
Yeah, we'll just bring those back.
bring that one
Yeah.
back or any other that we change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trustee Job?
Yes, I just want to thank the Farm Bureau. I have been endorsed by their PAC, so I appreciate that.
Trustee Getzinger?
Just another reminder about next week, Thursday, which is the 18th, is that meet and greet that's at the Township Park at 7
yeah.
PM. Encourage everybody to participate in that, or attend and then listen. I did happen to read an article in Township Focus that, a few things that I just wanted to point out. It talked about tips for effective meetings, and periodically I kind of bring up some of these, so I thought I'd bring them up as part of this article. One that it said that stuck out had to do with providing sufficient information in advance of the meeting. So I just always encourage all of us board members to submit a packet prior to the agenda deadline, which in my opinion should include a little cover letter and like a brief with a proposed motion, so you kind of get the idea. Because we as a board may understand A lot of times we don't. We can guess, but even us as board, we don't. The public, if they're reading that packet, that information, that summary, cover page, and then like a recommended motion really helps the public understand what the intention is, so they don't get, potentially they get frustrated thinking something terrible is gonna happen, and they don't understand that we're not, leaning that way. So that was big on, I usually bring that up, and every once in a while I'm bringing that up again. The other one is just from reminding that, it says here was, debates you don't want them to be personal criticism. So certainly we may disagree on an item. We've all done it. It's hard to not want to, sometimes you get a dig or an outright attack, but certainly as a board, if we're going to be effective, and the public sees this, and it's embarrassing, again, I'm not immune to this either. I'm not saying it's the rest of the board. We just need to figure out how to agree to disagree and not be personal or respond negatively to a personal attack too. So other than that, that was it. So thank you.
Have to be made aware of the personal attack part, so
It's hard to not respond, but sometimes you can't do that. You shouldn't do that.
Clerk Swacki?
Just a reminder that early voting starts Saturday, July 7th through Sunday, August 4th at the Senior Center from 8:30 to 4:30, so get out there and vote. No, July 27th through August 4th. No, you missed.
All right, motion to adjourn 8:12.
Oh, second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.